Intermittent fasting is a complicated topic and there's a lot of positive and negative information out there about it. In this video, we're breaking it down to understand how fasting impacts our hormones and our period, our cycle, because yes, the impact of fasting is very different for men versus women because we have strict bodily schedules and cycles. So hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kiran. I'm a hormone balance practitioner with a background in kinesiology, holistic nutrition, and women's hormone health. Here's a little overview of today's video. We just finished the introduction. We're going to go into what is intermittent fasting. We'll chat about the benefits and cautions to take when it comes to fasting, how to fast with your cycle. So let's get right into it and make me a little bit smaller. All right. So intermittent fasting, it's a pattern of eating that alternates between set periods of fasting and set periods of eating. And so you could say that you do this every single day when you go to sleep at night, and there's a period of time there that you're not eating. Experts say that evolutionarily, we're not designed to be eating all of the time. And, one of the biggest reasons people love fasting or it's become so popular over the years is because typically when you reduce the time that you can eat, you're reducing your overall caloric intake, and that may lead to weight loss. Now, there are quite a few types of intermittent fasting, and so let's go over a few of those on screen. We've got 16 to 8 fasting, which is when you're eating for 8 hours, fasting for 16, and overnight fasting. This might be 12 hours, or it might change day to day. 20 to 4, a 4-hour eating window, 20-hour fasting window, 1 meal a day over here. 24-hour fasting. So this is a 24-hour water fast as well as a 36-hour fast. 5-2 is fast mimicking, and it's when you, for 2 days of the week, are eating 500 calories. So you're not fasting, but you're mimicking fasting. You're just reducing your caloric intake. Now, fasting can be either very specific or not so much. How does intermittent fasting affect women's health? Alrighty. So most studies when it comes to intermittent fasting, they're done on men. But one of the few studies that included both male and female subjects found that while intermittent fasting was supported for men, it impaired blood sugar responses for women. Does this mean that women should never fast? No, but there are certain ways to safely implement fasting into your life. Let's begin by sharing the benefits. Autophagy is a really well-known one. This is your body's self-cleaning mechanism that switches on when nutrients are unavailable. Damaged or old cells are then cleaned out to make room for healthier cells, protecting your cellular and your metabolic health. Now, I've done fasts before. I've done water fasts, I've done intermittent fasting, and I don't wash or fast often, but here's an example of a video I made sharing what was happening in my body as I hit certain time points of my water fast. This is my 26-hour water fast update and what's happening to my body. At 13 to 15 hours, the body secretes growth hormone, which helps burn fat and slow the aging process. At 15 hours, most people begin creating ketones, a sign your body is now burning fat for fuel as opposed to sugar. At 17 to 24 hours, our bodies begin to repair our gut, our cells, detox. This can help in cancer prevention, as well as aids in depression and anxiety. Oh, and can also help with brain and memory loss. I've just passed the 24-hour mark where GABA production occurs. This is a neurotransmitter known to help with anxiety and calm our brains. This is not medical advice. Always consult a physician or doctor before starting a water fast. But if you're in... All right. So as you can see, as you hit certain time points, certain mechanisms are triggered in our body, and there are many different benefits of fasting. I've got on screen weight loss, fat burning, blood sugar control, immunity, and inflammation, among many. But even very gentle fasting can carry risk, especially for people who have the following. So HPA axis dysfunction, this is when we're talking about those symptoms of fatigue, you're drained, you're in chronic stress oftentimes, your adrenals need more support, your cortisol response isn't where it needs to be, and that's the time where very gentle fasting can have risks. This can also impair the blood sugar, as I mentioned in the previous study. So what I mean by this is that one of the biggest things that we see when women come to us to help them support their hormones, one of the best things that they can do for themselves is to be eating within 90 minutes of waking up. So 12-hour fasting is still possible here and it can be helpful. But again, you want the eating window to be quite early on in your day. Also, fasting can carry risks for pregnant woman, or if you're breastfeeding, history of not having your period, or you have fertility concerns, eating disorders or disordered eating habits, diabetes or hypoglycemia, trouble gaining sufficient weight, a history of electrolyte imbalance or nutrient deficiencies, and the week before your cycle. There's actually 2 times in your cycle that you don't want to be water fasting, and we'll be talking about that shortly. By shortly, I mean right away. So, how to fast with your cycle? Let's get into it. Now, this is a typical 28-day hormonal cycle for a woman. Every woman's cycle is different. So, if yours isn't 20 days on the dot, that's okay. Now, we're just going to go off of this. So, women can typically fast days 1 to day 12, no problem. Days 1, so I'm going to say this is around day 12 right over here with my little pointer. Now, days 12 to 14 is when your estrogen peaks. We can see the pink line right over here. It's best not to fast during this time. It's also best not to fast on day 21 to 28. This is when your progesterone levels are peaking, aka the week before your bleed, before your period. And the side effect of fasting in this time, can include anxiety. It can include shutting down other hormones in your body. Just don't fast the week before your period because you're going to be impacting your progesterone, aka your calming hormone, and that's not something you want. This is also a time where you want to be increasing your carbohydrate intake. So, if you're curious to understand how your hormones shift through each phase of your cycle, as we have here on screen, and the 4 different phases, and understanding how you can support your body during each phase, I will link below the link to my cycle syncing playlist where we talk all about that. Now, women in perimenopause, aka approximately 40 to 55. This is also a time where your adrenals need more support, and it's very crucial to slow down because this is going back to the HPA axis dysfunction. So, because not only are your adrenals making the epinephrine, the norepinephrine, the cortisol as they normally are, now they have the responsibility to also be making your estrogen, progesterone, and your testosterone. So if you don't support them, that's when your sex hormones they can get out of whack. That's when you'll have the symptoms of night sweats, the hot flashes, you're not sleeping well, you're anxious, you're irritable. So it's time to double down on supporting your stress response, and a lot of this comes down to looking at the root, right? Like what is going on in your life that is not being supportive to you. Here, it's important to focus on your diet. You want to be removing your toxins by supporting your liver. Oh my God, we did a whole live about how we can supercharge our liver, and I will link that video down below. Also, for women who are in perimenopause, menopause, and beyond, you still have a cycle. It's the lunar cycle. So that is something that you can use to support your body.
I wanna know your name. Baby, you're bubbly and radiant. You got some flavor and I'm trying to savor it. Palm gripped on the fruit.